Hi everyone. Today we are discussing about agent in artificial intelligence. So agent is a independent program or entity that interacts with its environment by perceiving its surroundings via sensors by using a representation of actuators and effectors. So actuator and effectors is a key source that is used to interact with the human with its environment. So agent use their actuators to run through a cycle of perceptions and actions. So in this diagram we are representing how the environment will act or give a perception to the agent, and how the agent will give an action to the environment. So each and everything can be monitored by the sensor. After identifying the sensor data can be sending or it will be perceiving from the environment, and it will be stored in any data sources. After perception, we can identify which type of action we want to perform in this type of environment, and we are making a action in this environment. For example, if you want to recognize the face, if your sensor will identify the face, the perception from the environment. So after identifying the face will be matched or not. If the face is matched, we can performing the action to the environment. So this is a connectivity between the agent and environment. The next one, examples of agent: software, human and robotics. So software is a file content, or it will be received any network packages that functions because of the sensory input, and also it will be having a getting an input from the user and displaying the output on the screen by using a software. Human, we are know it, all the persons will identify as a agent. Human have eyes, ears and other organs that act as a sensors, and hands and leg, mouth and other bodies act as a actuators. Then we are moving to the next agent is robotics. So robotic agent have cameras and infrared range that act as a sensor, and various servers and motors inform as a actuators. The next one, the structure of the agent. So the structure of the agent is associated with architecture and program. So architecture, all the physical sensors, actuators will be combined together to produce any one model, that is architecture. So after identifying the model of the architecture, we can give a instruction how it will be performing, or how we can implement the function by using this architecture is a program. So program is a set of software source which is used to performing the actions on the environment. So this is a agent function. So we can identify the agent function A equal to f of p. So we already know that p is a perception and A is the action. So in this representation, f is a agent function. So f can map with the perception to the actions. So whenever we are representing f is a function, that is p tends to A. So each and every perception is based on the action alone. So if you are having a representation, so action may depend on all perception observed so far the current perceptions. Agent function refinement. So we are having a n number of perception. So based upon the n number of perceptions, we are making any single action. That is also possible in the agent function refinement. That is can be identified as a B star tends to A. F now maps perception sequence to the actions. The next one, intelligent agent. So normally all the humans, all the actions can be done by the agent. In this, agent will be representing as an intelligent agent. So intelligent agent in AI is an autonomous entity that acts upon the environment using sensors and actuators to achieve their goals. So if you are having the intelligent agent may understand and reason out of learn from the environment to achieve these goals. Any intelligent agent must be rational to carry out an action for the best outcome after considering the past and current perception. So what is the thing is, if you have to performing any action on the environment, we have to consider the past action. So for example, if you are getting a perception from the environment or perception from the sensor, we can get the past action, and then the past action will not directly implement for the current representation. We have to analyze what is the perception we have to take for the action in the current environment. So that is a thing. So the each and every AI model will identify the past actions. So based upon the past action, it will be trained and it will be applicable for the present or current perception. So this is a representation of intelligent agent. So what are the rules? We are having a defining AI agent. The first one, AI agent must be able to perceive the environment. The second rule, the environment observation must be used to make decision. And third one, the decision should result in action. The fourth one, the action taken by the AI agent must be rational, and then the actions that maximize the performance and give a positive outcome. So first one, we have to get the input from the sensor by using a perceiving the data from the agent to the environment, and then agent can observe all the perceptions. So after identifying all the perception, it will be giving a sum of set of decision. In the sum set of decision, the result can be taken as a one action. That action can be taken by the AI agent. So that action should be giving a maximum performance and best positive outcome for the perceptions. The next one, characteristics of intelligent agent. So what are the characteristics? Normally each and every characteristics can be representing the intelligent agent should have an intelligent mind. So we are having two major different types of characteristics. One is internal characteristics and another one is external characteristics. So internal characteristics, learning and reasoning, reactivity and situationist, autonomy, goal oriented. The external characteristics are communication, cooperation, mobility and character. So in this representation we are having internal characteristics. First one is learning or reasoning. So what are the things we are learned from the previous experience by using this environment perception that will be giving a positive feedback to the current environment. Next one, reactivity. So the agent must be capable of reacting appropriately to the influences or informed from its environment. The next one, autonomy. So the autonomy will control the both action and internal states. The degree of agent autonomy can be specified. That maybe need intervention from the user only the important decision. The next one, goal oriented. So if you are having a representation of each and everything will move towards the goal. So one application or one experiment will be done, it will be surely will have a aim and goal of the particular environment. So if you are getting a perception from the sensor and it will be going to the environment, so know that what is the goal, we are sending the particular perception to the environment. So this is the meaning of this representation of we are having the gradually environment and so achieve its own goals. The next one, external characteristics. So external characteristics we are having a communication, cooperation, mobility and character. So communication, so once we are getting the perception from the agent to the environment, so there is no deviation from the communication between the environment and agent. So if you are having any communication mismatch between the human or between the agent and environment, surely we can't get the achieve the goal. The next one, cooperation. So each and every action can be taken by the n number of several agents. So each and every agent will have a better cooperation to achieve the goal, and it will be having a peer-to-peer manner. So what are the things we are having this environment or what are the things we are having in the agent representation? We need to get the particular cooperation between all the agents. The next one, mobility. So what are the mobility we are having in this representation? We are having various types of communication network. So if you are having any one, we are developing any one application in any representation of any environment, it will be capable for all the environment. There is no deviation between the performance, there is no deviation between the positive output. All those things will be same for each and every place in the network. The next one, character. So each and every environment agent will act like a human. and it will be behaving what are the things will providing by the sensor. Immediately we have to responsible for human mind representation. The next one, agent environment. So we are having a large degree interaction between the outside world and the agent. So outside world is not necessarily the real world. In many cases, environmental or implemented within a computer, they may or may not have a closer correspondence to the real world. So what is the thing is, if you are developing the agent or if you are developing the AI model, it will not suitable for the outside world. So we have to make, we will not all the time will match the real world. So it should be matching the outside world of the network. The next one, specifying the agent environment. So what is the specification of the agent environment? We are having a PEAS description. So what is the meaning? Expansion of PEAS: performance measure, environment, actuators and sensors. So these are the specification for the agent environment. So performance, so if you are having a good agent aspiration, so we can achieve more action on the environment. Next one, environment, it having a restrictions and surroundings controlled by the agent. Actuators, it will be indicated by the use agent that can be carried out by actions by the environment. The next one, sensors, indicating the agent can perceive the current state of the environment. So the next one, properties of environment. So we are having so many properties between the environment and also the agent. So if you are having observable a particular thing, we will not cover all the things the same time. So we having a fully observable and partially observable. The next one, deterministic, stochastic. So what is a change will making a predictable or not? So based upon that, we are having a deterministic, non-deterministic, episodic and sequential. So we are having a data, or we are taking a acting agent will have a independent perceiving acting episodes. Dynamic and static, there is no changes while taking agent thinking. We are having a static and dynamic. Discrete and continuous, based upon the time of interval, we are representing a discrete and continuous action can be taken by the environment. Single and multiple agent. So whenever we are developing AI model, we are not having a will not developing for a single agent. We have to cover multiple agent. Competitive and cooperative for the representation of your single and multiple agent. The next one, properties of environment. So all the representation of the previous slide, the properties of environment, how the AI model will provide. So observability, determinism, episodicity, dynamism, continuity and number of agents. So this is a classification of the properties of the environment. So in this we are having a what is observable, what is partially observable, what is fully observable. So all the environment that relevant to the action will be considerable is observable. If you are having not a relevant feature of the environment or partially observable, that is fully and partially. Deterministic and stochastic and strategic means we are having the next state of the environment is completely described by the current state and the action, that is image analysis. The next one, if an element of the interference or uncertainty occurs, then the environmental is stochastic. A partially observable environment will appear to the agent, that is example of Ludo. The next one, static environmental state, wholly determined by the state that will be action in the multiple agent, that is chess is example for this representation is chess. Next one, episodic and sequential. So episodic we are having a environmental means that having a subsequent episodes do not depend on what action can be occurred for the previous episodes. But sequential we are having a continuous connection between the previous one and the next one. The next one, static environment and dynamic environment. So we know that we are having there is no changes between the current state and the previous state now, that is will be representing as a static. The dynamic, each and every second we are changing the environmental condition means that is dynamic environment. So dynamic, whenever we are having a static representation, the agent only changes can be caused by the agent itself. But dynamic environment, what are the changes will happen in the environment, automatically the agent will making an action can be changed that is dynamic environment. The next one, discrete and continuous. So discrete means we are having action can be limited, but continuous, that action cannot be limited, it will be continuing the number of distinct perceptions. The next one, single agent and multiple agent. So only one agent can involved in the environmental and operating the actions, means that is single agent. So if you are having a more number of or two or more number of more than two agents can operating the environment, and it can be an interaction and collaboration between the agent, that will be representing as a multiple agent. So the next one, typical intelligent agent. So we are having a majorly 5 different types of typical intelligent agent. So reflex agent, model based reflex agent, goal based agent, utility based agent, and learning agent. The first one is reflex agent. So it having a processing of perceptions to achieve some abstraction. It can be selecting the action based on the current perception, ignoring the rest of the perception history. So the reflex agent only considering the current observation, it will not considering the previous thing. So normally what is the thing is, we have to identify the past experience, and then we can analyze the action for the current environmental changes. But in reflex agent only, it will be performing the action only based on the current perception, it will not consider the previous perceptions. So that is based upon the condition action rules. If the perception can be performed, the action can be take, otherwise the action will not performing. So in this, the environmental must be carefully observable, and it can be fully observable, because we have to consider only the environmental changes for making the action. This is a reflex agent. So the systematic representation of reflex agent, we are getting the perception by using the sensor. We are representing what the world is like now. So for this representation, what I have to do, so based upon the condition action rule, I will performing the actuator, that action can be performed to the environment. The next one, model based reflex agent. The model based reflex agent will work partially observable, because it will be providing one model. That model will have how many things will happen in this world. So this is a representation of model based. We are having an internal state. In the internal state, based upon the internal state, we can identify one model. So we can combine both the thing. We are defining the action. That is a model based reflex agent. We are not considering the current state. We are not considering the past. Only it will be observed. Small thing also can be observable, and it will be performing the action. It will not take a serious action to the entire environmental changes. Only after identifying the perceptions, automatically based upon the model, it will be converting the internal state to performing the action. That is model based reflex agent. So we can identify, the same diagram will represent for this model based. So what action, what the world will be like. So what that world will be like will be considered 3 parameter. One is state, another one is world, who will be involved and how will be involved. So what my action will do. So all those things will be considered, and it will be taking the environmental perception, and it will be sending to the action. So that action can be performed by the actuators and to the environment. The next one, state management. The reflex agent state will have a model of the world. Current state of its world depends on the perception history, and rule to be applied, the next depend on the resulting state. In this representation, the next one, goal based agent. So in this goal, we can consider the current state environment is not always sufficient to take a decision. So we have to consider the previous representation or past representation of the model, and also it will be considered for defining a action. So what is the thing is, we can identify the perception from the environment, and then it will be getting a past experience from the previous model. Both are combined, and it can be utilized by using a goal based agent. So this is a diagrammatic representation for goal based agent. So what is the thing is, what the world is likely now. For this representation, if I am performing any action, what are the things will happen, or what are the things will be changed in the environment. So in this also, we have to take the state and world, what are the world and how the world will be evolved, and what type of my action will do. So both the things will be collected. By using this present environment and past environment, both the things will be combined and it will be performing the action based upon the goals. So in this representation, we are not considering the conditional rule. We are taking the goals. The goals will be setting for the past experience. It will be defining one set of goals. We can take the input from that goal and we can provide the actuator for the action in the environment. This is goal based agent. The next one, incorporating the goals. So how can you incorporate the goals? Rules. We have to define the rules. For we are achieving the rule means we can define this is goal. If you are not defining the, we are not achieving this goal, we can define this is not a goal achievement. So we have to define the rules for achieving the goal based model. So if you are having required knowledge of the future consequences given possible actions. So if you are having a goal can be provided more sophisticated for the next state function. The next one, utility based model. So we are having a number of goal based model. So we are defining the goal based. So what is the next representation of utility build? So for utility based agent can act based on not only a goal, and also it can be identified the reason, or it can be identify the path to achieve the goal. So what is the utility based? It will be having a multiple positive or possible alternatives, and it will be choosing the performing for the best action. So by using this best action, we need to achieve the goal. So normally goal based agent only they will have a goal set of rules. If you are having this model will achieve these rules, now we can implement the action. But in utility based agent agent also having a goals, but in this representation we need to achieve this goal by using the utility based model. So what is the diagrammatic representation? All the things will be common. So first one, we can identify the sensor and we are perceiving the environment, and then what type of action we need to perform by using this three state representation: world evaluates and my action. And if you are performing that action, how I will be happy for that state by using this utility representation, and then that action will be converted to the actuator and that action will be sending to the environment. What is the incorporating performance for the utility based? We know that we are not considering only the goal, we need to the best level happiness for the agent to identify the utility. So for this representation we need to map the utility function to measure the trade-off and incorporate the likelihood measures to achieve the goal to identify in the utility based model. The next one, learning agent. So learning agent, so normally what is a learning means? We have to learn something new in the world. So in real world, each and every second will change the lot of things happen in the environment. So in this learning agent, we have to learn the past experience and learning capabilities. So in this representation of learning agent will have four conceptual components. One is learning element and critic, and performance element, problem generator. So learning element, it is responsible for making improvements by learning from environment. The next one, critic, it will be learning element that takes the feedback from the critic, which describes that how well the agent is doing with respect to the fixed performance standard. The next one, performance element, it will be for selecting the external action, will identify the performance. And the problem generator is a component, it is responsible for the suggestions for the action that will be giving for informative experience. It will be collecting from the environment for further improvement for the next level of the model. The next one, learning agent will be able to analyze the performance and what are the ways to improve the performance. So this is a representation of learning agent. So how you are performing the learning agent? First we are taking the perception from the environment by using a sensor. That sensor data will be sending to the critic for collecting the feedback. After collecting the feedback, the learning environment will learn the performance of the element, and the changes will be sending to the performance element, and we are getting a knowledge. So if we are getting a knowledge, we are generating the problem generator. So after identifying the problem generator, again the experiment will identify the performance element, and finally it will be sending the effectors to the action in the environment. So next one, incorporating the learning. So what is the learning incorporation? Performance element, predict and problem generator. It will be causing the improvement on the agent, that is performance element. We are collecting the feedback, that is critic, and providing the goals, that is problem generator. So this is a last thing we are having this typical intelligent agent. So today we are discussing about the common representation of agent will performing the action in the environment. So we are having the AI model. Only the AI model will do what are the things will do by the human, that AI model will do. So for that representation, for AI model will not do the directly representation of act like a human. So we have to give the programming coding to the AI model, and it will be performing what type of action to be in the environmental changes. So for this representation, we need to create a agent for the AI model. In this AI model, we are having a n number of agent representation. So what are the characteristics, what are the types, what are the representation of different model. So these are the hierarchical increment representation of the intelligent agent. So if you are having intelligent agent, purely it will be based on the environmental changes. So if you are having, so for example, if you want to develop a AI model for water irrigation system, if you are developing the model for human assistant, if you are developing a AI model for the balance inquiry. So nowadays we are having each and everything will performing by using a AI model. So if you are giving any question to the AI model, that AI model will analyze that question, and it will be analyzing the environmental factors, and it will be analyzing the perception. So after analyzing the perception, it will be taking any action, that any action will be suitable, that will be identified the human action in the environment. So these are the representation of agent in artificial intelligence. Thank you.